Hey, how you doing? My name's Angel, and this is my presentation for my informative speech. So I'm going to start off by saying, do you like chicken? Have you ever cooked chicken before? There are many ways to cook chicken, says Emily Alexander, an author for The Tasting Table. But as much as people love chicken, there's also that fear they have of cooking it, and that is because they're just concerned about not cooking it right and then eating, serving or eating undercooked chicken. So, but while chicken can be cooked many ways, it is also important to properly cook chicken so that way it is safe to consume. So in this speech, we're going to go over different ways of cooking chicken and then temperatures. And so we'll get started. So first, we're going to actually start with temperature. So the actual internal temperature for cooked chicken should be at 165 degrees, 74 Celsius. That is because chicken is contaminated with a bunch of bacteria besides salmonella. So in order to destroy that, the internal temperature would have to be at 165. So if we look here at my display here, I got a list here of temperatures here. So the sweet spots, 350 to 375. That's your goal. So what the temperature being 165, it destroys everything, so you avoid getting foodborne illness. So next, we're going to go on to roasting chicken. So the proper temperature for roasting chicken would be about 350, like I said, 350 to 375. I prefer 400. That's just my personal opinion. But roasting chicken has its perks. So let's talk about the crunchy or crispy skin. So dry skin is crispy skin, says Robin Rockingbird, an author for allrecipes.com. So one of the benefits of roasting chicken is kind of like you take a paper towel and you just go ahead and you damp your chicken. So that way dry skin is crispy skin while it's cooking in the oven. The other thing would be like simple ingredients. While you're cooking, you can always add, carrots, celery, onions, peppers, whatever you want. And, so this is the plus of all of, perks of that. Cooking with ease. Once you got that delicious bird cooking in the oven, you can actually step away. You can step away for some time, 30 minutes, 35 minutes, whatever it takes to cook your bird. And you can get other things done too. So we're moving on. So using roasting in the oven is kind of like the more good and healthier way. There's also another method that is very popular amongst people, and that's deep frying your chicken. So, what are the benefits of deep frying chicken? So, of course, when you are deep frying your chicken, the oil has to be at least 350 degrees. So one of the good perks for deep frying chicken is the fact that you can add all kinds of seasoning to your batter. And then once you get that seasoning in, you can dip it into some eggs and flour. Get that nice little crisp that you want for frying your chicken. And you could also re-dip it into the egg and batter and get a double crunch. So that moves me down to my second one is, if you're timed right in cooking fried chicken, it's kind of tricky because if you don't pay attention to it often and if you overdo it, you're going to get that crunch on the outside, but sometimes it'll dry it out. So as long as it's right in that point, that cook mark, you can keep it moist and juicy. The third part is the third benefit is when you are it cuts the cook time in half. So not like when you oven roast the chicken. It cuts it down because it's just, it's hot oil. So it's cooking, it's like all submerged and cooking all at once. The only downside about frying chicken is you have to keep a visual eye on it, because if you don't, you can leave it in there and it'll just burn. So now we're moving on to my third method. While frying is a good and effective method of choice, there is also one of the best ones too, pan searing. So pan searing is pretty good too. The only thing is too, it's kind of like, when we go into the frying method, you have to maintain the visual and keep tabs on it because otherwise it'll burn. So the best temperature for pan searing is you want to keep about 375. So on the stovetop, medium, is where you want to be. And so you'll be flipping back and forth. I think maybe I want to give her say about maybe 9, 12, 15 minutes max. But I guarantee when you are done searing, you will not be disappointed, because you will, once you're finished, you will have that warm golden brown exterior, and it's just wow. And it comes up very, very, very juicy. Now that we discussed several methods on how to cook chicken, I want to talk to you about the proper techniques for cooking chicken. So what we have here, not cooking chicken, checking chicken. So what we have here is we have different varieties here of how to check to make sure your chicken is done. So step one we have here, this is a thermometer. So here's an example chicken right here. So we're looking at the thicknesses where you want to check the chicken, either breast here, here, or the drumstick here, here, or the thighs underneath. So with the temperature, with the thermometer, you want to poke it in the thickest part, so you're aiming maybe the breast. So we're looking at the temperature to be 165 degrees Fahrenheit. So next, if you don't have a thermometer, so it's real easy. You just stick it in, poke it in, and it reads. So next, we're going to move on to the skewer method. If a thermometer is not around, or if you have one of those big gigantic forks or a skewer, you can easily poke right into the thickness of the area as well. And the only difference is it's not going to read a temperature. We're looking for, if blood comes out, the chicken is not done. But if the juices are running clear, your chicken is cooked. And finally, we'll move on to the third method here, which is the cutting method. So this pretty much what you're doing is you'd probably do like right around the breast here, or the drumstick, or the thigh. And what you were doing is you're cutting it open, you're looking for any pink meat. If you see any pink meat that bird is not done, give it some more time in the oven so it can finish off and be good. So now, in summary, while chicken may be cooked many ways, it is also important to make sure that you know what you're doing when you're cooking it. So according to the CDC, the Center of Disease Control and Prevention, that the chicken should be reading at 165 degrees to destroy any harmful bacteria that the chicken might be harboring. So like we're talking like salmonella and a bunch of other things. So if it's not reading this here, it's not destroying that bacteria, therefore puts you at risk for being sick. They also, according to the CDC, they also recommend too that when you are dealing with raw chicken, you want to keep an eye on a lot of those. You can possibly, chicken leeks, keep it in a separate bag, because those juices can leak out and they can contaminate everything else, which can also cause you to get a foodborne illness known as food poisoning. They also estimate at least a million people a year usually get foodborne or food poisoning from contaminated juices going all over everything. So they also recommend and wash your hands. So I'm talking like the whole 20 seconds. So if you're interested in knowing any more about cooking times or special ways to handle raw chicken and cooked chicken, you can visit the CDC at cdc.com. Or if you're interested in how to cook like chicken many ways, there's a lot more than what I just read off. Those were the popular ways. You can also visit thetastingtable.com. And then when it comes time to like roasting, a good roasting, Robin Rockenberg was also great. So you can also visit that website at allrecipes.com. Great information. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.